Whoa, look at the Pac-Man at ESPN
Here
Bet.
we go.
The Mavs are once again underdogs in Game 1, and they're plus 180 to win the series. The public, though, all over Dallas, getting 89% of the tickets, 81% of the money to win the series at plus 180. It would match the third biggest finals upset in the last 40 years.
Can't see that being a problem.
That's interesting. Public liking that, Joseph. We'll see if any of us are on your side, a man of the people. But, Joe, now that we've gone over how we've gotten here, Boston was expected to be here. From start to finish, like we said, they've been a pole sitter. When you look at their price right now, would you consider it to be undervalued, overvalued, or properly valued?
Believe it or not, the best team in basketball, they're the favorite here. They've run through the Eastern Conference. I think they're a bit undervalued. Whoa. I think it should be closer to $3. That's just me personally. I think there are a couple key narratives that are driving the price to where it is today. Number one, on the Boston side of the equation, very easy path, didn't play anyone, didn't play well in those game twos against Miami and Cleveland, yada, yada. On top of that, Tatum and Brown can't close in the big spot. We all know their history in clutch games. Okay, that's fine. Now go to the other side of the equation with Dallas. Luka's the new face of the NBA. Luka's the best player in the NBA. On top of that, Luka and Kyrie are now the best backcourt in the NBA. Steph, Clay, you're in the trash. You guys didn't do anything. It's these two now. So you put all that together, and what do we see? A crazy ticket count supporting Dallas there. Keep something in mind. How did you, if you're betting Dallas here, how did you feel about Minnesota coming off that win against Denver? Everybody loved Minnesota, right up until they didn't. Now everybody loves Dallas, possibly right up until they don't. So I think you're getting a cheaper price than you should on Boston.
I think you laid out some compelling points there. But,
thank you.
However, let's go back to a stat I mentioned of how these teams got here. Is it not fair to say that maybe Dallas is the undervalued team because they've been underdogs throughout this postseason, and they're not just covering these games, Joe, they're 6-1 outright as an underdog this postseason. So I would argue to you that the team that's truly undervalued is the underdog Mavericks. They should be closer in price to the Celtics.
Game to game, they've been very good. If you go back to a meeting between these two in Boston, beginning of March, both sides completely healthy, Celtics were laying 9.5. Now they're laying 6.5. So I think Boston's surge has been accounted for, but that is a fair point because game to game, as we've worked through the playoffs, there wasn't a lot of love for Dallas against the Clippers. There was some. You liked them, but not everybody. Then in the second round of the playoffs, OKC's a team I was infatuated with. Other people felt the same way. Wrong there. And then, of course, the aforementioned Minnesota Timberwolves. So it's now we're asking ourselves, has it completely swung? But throughout the course of the playoffs, it's a very good point.
Okay, let's talk a little more micro here. You have been chatting about Kristaps Porzingis and his importance to the Boston Celtics. He's expected to be available for Game 1, but said he was wary of how his injury would respond. So now, given that added context here on Tuesday, is there any series market that interests you with that info?
Yeah, I like the Celtics here. I would lay the price. I would also play the series spread, which is -1.5 games. That's about even money. Would play that as well. That means we need to win the series 4-2, 4-1, or 4-0 in a sweep. If we win 4-3, that's only by one game, thus not covering the 1.5. See, we're educating. We're educating as we're firing picks at you as well. It's what we do around these parts. Key here, we can match up the stars all day long. We can say Luka's the best player in this series. I'm not going to disagree. Luka, Kyrie versus Jalen and Jason Tatum. You can say whichever you want there. I think the next 5 players in terms of ranking all belong to Boston. And that's the key. I think Derek White, Drew Holiday are going to be able to bring down Kyrie Irving's scoring. It's going to put a lot on Luka. He's going to play very well, but I don't think they have a lot of other scoring options, whereas when you're Boston, you can turn to several different people, including Kristaps Porzingis, not just offensively, where he can get you a bucket by posting up in crunch time where they have struggled so much in years past. Not only can he knock down the three, but defensively, he can protect the rim, something Al Horford can't do in his 17th year. No disrespect to Horford, it's a great career, but he's going to be big on defense, defending those lobs that Irving likes to throw up to Gafford and Lively. Such a well-presented case.
You taught me something with how a series spread works, but what if on the other side you could take Dallas plus a game and a half at -125? That means that if Dallas wins the series or if it goes to a 7th game, then you win that bet. Is that how I'm to understand that?
You nailed it.
Well, then I am opposite of you, my friend. I would like Dallas plus that game and a half for various reasons, least of which is that Luka Doncic, I think, will be the best player on the floor. And you were talking about this before the postseason started, and it's continued through the playoffs. Dallas now has an elite defense. When Derek Lively's on the
Yeah.
floor, they have an elite defense to match Boston. I think they can ride those two things to a series, at least 7th game or victory. Hey, hi, Anita Marks. Welcome to the show for the first time today. Joe and I appear to be at odds here, so can you help us figure out how this series is going to play out?
Joe, what are you talking about, dude? All right, let's break it down. One thing we know about Dallas is coming into the postseason, they were arguably the best team in the NBA, had the #1 defense. I feel that the stars have aligned so properly for them that they come in as the hottest team. They are battle tested throughout the postseason. And of course, now they've got a week to recoup, rest, get Luka's knee ready to go. Meanwhile, for the Boston Celtics, let's not forget, 2 weeks leading into the postseason, they were utilizing load management, right? Then they get into the postseason, and it was one of the easiest roads probably in the history of the NBA. The Heat, the Cavs, the Pacers, going up against teams where their star players were riding the pine. Now another week of not playing competitive basketball? Are you kidding me? I'm with you, Tyler. I love this Dallas team getting the 1.5 in regard to the series spread. I think Dallas wins it in 7. I think they're coming into the better team. They've been battle tested and they are ready to go. PJ Washington, Lively, these are X factors outside of the big name players. So love you, Joseph, but no, man, I'm with Tyler, and I'm with, 89% of the country? I'm with Dallas here. Dallas wins the championship.
Public dog always comes through. We always know that. So, yeah.
That part's a little concerning, but I think.
By the way, the whole, the rest for Dallas, very beneficial. The rest for Boston, very detrimental. I see what you did there. I'm not buying it.
We love narratives when we have a week of content to fill before games start, but I think, Anita, you just delivered some excellent analysis there. All right, Joe Fortenbaugh, as we promised the people, it is time to play a game of Better Bet NBA Finals Edition. You all right with that?
I should be able to manage.
Okay.
I mean, I've got copious notes, so we'll see.
I like the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. We throw a bet up. You tell us which one is a better bet. All right. To lead the finals in points, betting on Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, or Jaylen Brown at those prices.
That's going to be Luka. It's like the least enticing answer you can give. Oh, you're playing the favorite. Keep in mind, 185 looks daunting right up until you check the rest of the market. Minus 220 is out there. I mean, what do you want us to do? The guy's taking more shots than anybody in the postseason at 22 per game. He's going to have to handle the bulk of the scoring with Derek White and Drew Holiday marking Kyrie Irving, and Tatum and Brown cut into each other's scoring. We've seen it. That's what makes them such a great tandem, is that Brown picks up Tatum, Tatum picks up Brown. So, I mean, I wish I had something a little bit sexier for the people, but it's going to be the pasty guy over there on the left.
I think that pocket square pretty sexy for the people. I'm with you.
Easy.
I like the Mavericks to win the series, so if that's the case, you better lead the series in scoring, or the chances are slim that they will do so. Maybe a more compelling better bet.
All right.
To lead the finals in assists. Well, I imagine that Luka. Whoa, minus 650. You got 5 options on the board here, but again, Doncic, that is a hefty price to pay.
Okay, I'll take a shot here with Tatum at 10-1 for a couple key reasons. Number one, Boston defensively very good at limiting the opposition when it comes to assists. They gave up the 5th fewest assists of any team in the NBA this season, and that moves to 6th fewest when you combine what they did in the playoffs. Luka's the heavy favorite. He's going to have to handle a lot of scoring, as we talked about. Not sure if he'll facilitate as much, but keep in mind with Tatum, he's in a situation where after Luka, he's assisting more than anybody.
Right.
So I'll take a 10-1. That's where I'm willing to take a shot.
All right, listen. I predict that Luka will lead the NBA Finals in assists, but do I want to lay 650? No. So if I got into this market, I'll go all the way to the bottom, 25-1, throw a dart at Drew Holiday. All 3 of those Boston Celtics averaging 4.6 or more assists per game this postseason. So it's not, and Tatum's like at 5.8 or something like that. So they have 3 guys who can play make. Let's just hope Holiday, in my case, gets hot with a couple of 9-10 assist games, and Luka does more scoring than assisting for the Mavericks in this series, and I got a 25-1 dart throw. Keep in mind, Drew Holiday, 2nd on the team in minutes per game, so he'll be out there because of his defense. Maybe he can get into the action on offense by setting others up, but come on, Luka's going to lead.
Yeah, I mean, but we're not going to lay the 650, so let's have some fun.
Good point. All right, maybe, again, more fun can be had here. Anita Marks usually brings more fun to the show. So, Anita, I ask you, better bet to have most threes made in the series, Luka, Derek White, or Kyrie?
I have to go with Derek White, and here's why. Dallas's best defenders are going to be on Tatum and Brown. We know that will probably be PJ Washington and Jones. So Luka and Kyrie more than likely will be trying to defend Derek White, and what Dallas does is they don't like to expend their energy on the defensive side of the court. It's on offense that they like those two cats to deliver. KP's injury, White is getting more playing time. He averaged 7 attempts from downtown a game in the regular season. Now with no KP on the court, he's averaging 9 and he's hitting at 40%. Meanwhile, part of me was leaning towards Tatum, but dude's only shooting 29% from deep, even against teams that haven't had their best players on the court. So for me, it's Derek White.
I'm with that.
That makes some sense. 3-1. See, you could get a much better price on this prop earlier, and then everyone came around because they've seen how well he shot. He's going to get looks. He's going to get looks. We've talked to people about this throughout the course of the week. Even with Porzingis coming back, it won't necessarily affect his ability to get the looks that he's normally getting. So hard to argue. I hate that it's come down to 3-1 though.
All right, I have one more for you, Joseph.
Okay.
Which of these ESPN bet special markets is the better bet? Luka to score 31 plus in every finals game at 16-1, or Jason Tatum to record a double-double in every finals game at 18-1.
I kind of dig them both. This one specifically because we know he's going to get his shots up. He's going to have to be the primary scorer. And when you get a week off, play game 1 on a Thursday, and then get 2 nights off to game 2 before you travel back to Dallas, they have plenty of energy. Like, being tired is not going to be an excuse in this series. But this would be the play I would end up making at 18-1. Think of it like this. Tatum, scoring-wise, it shouldn't be a problem. 16 or more points in every game this postseason, and that 16 was the outlier low. Rebounds are the key. He's the minus 120 odds-on favorite to lead the entire series in rebounding, which most people think he will do. So instead of going minus 120, have some fun and go 18-1 that he hits double digits in every game. 14 playoff games. Right. He's reached 10 rebounds in 11 of them. When he's missed, he's had 8, 7, and 6, so he doesn't miss by much. That's a price worth playing. Elsewhere on the market, I've seen 14-1, so boom.
Now, I will say, for someone who's been hucking on shows all week, Jason Tatum to have over 9.5 rebounds in every game at 14-1, you've just enlightened me to a better price at the exact same type of proposition, because he's going to score 10 or more points in every game. So I'm at least interested or educated with that wager.
Imagine the idea of him having 12-plus rebounds in every game, and then he has a game where he has 6 points. And that's how we go down.
Real kick to the you-know-what. However, this is the play in this market. I mean, Luka 31 plus.
Like them both.
I think that's the one that I like. All right,
22
so there's
shots a game in the postseason. Do we see that going down here?
Not I. All right, big business starts with this question on the sideline. The coaching advantage in this series, Joe Mazzulla in Boston or Jay Kidd in Dallas?
Let me start out by saying this. I want to give Joe Mazzulla a lot of credit. He's been coaching his behind off. But Jason Kidd, he's been the best coach in the playoffs. What he has done for us challenging Luka and Kyrie defensively and to trust their teammates and trust one another, that's a hard task in itself. When you think about Dallas defense, you have a rookie in Derek Lively that's anchoring that defense. Another young fella in Daniel Gafford that's also anchoring that defense. You turn P.J. Washington into a winner. He was just with the Charlotte Hornets a couple months ago. Now all of a sudden this team is clicking on all cylinders. Jay Kidd has been here before as a player and as an assistant coach. He will make the necessary adjustments. I give the advantage to Jay Kidd on the sideline.
All indications point to Derek White drawing the Kyrie Irving assignment in this series. Now, we saw Anthony Edwards try to man up with Kyrie in the last series. That affected his scoring on the offensive end. So how do we see manning up with Kyrie affecting Derek White's scoring? His prop for game 1 is 14.5 points.
It's going to be a tall task. And I think, you know what, it's not going to affect it because Derek White is going to have to make shots. And the good thing about Derek White is that he has others that could actually go and play and guard Kyrie Irving. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, right? They have the personnel to mix it up. Before him stopping Kyrie, I feel sorry for his loss. No one is stopping Kyrie Irving, just like no one is stopping Luka Doncic, okay? But I will tell you this. Derek White is going to have to make shots. I believe he will make shots. I'm loving that prop bet for the series. 14. What you say? It's 14 and a half?
14 and a half is game one, so that's where they're going to start a scoring.
I like that. I actually like that for game one. I'm taking that.
All right.
I'm taking that.
Let's go.
Really had to twist your arm there. I noticed. Really had to twist the arm.
Oh, Perk. Full action? Come on, he's not afraid. You mentioned you think Kyrie is going to get his because he's Kyrie. So if him and Luka are going, who's another Mav that would have to step up for them to have a chance in this series?
I'm looking at Derek Lively, a young man that has stepped up every game in this series. And we saw how valuable he was when he went out in Game 4 in the Western Conference Finals. That was the only win Minnesota got. Throughout that entire series, he outplayed Rudy and Karl Anthony Towns. And it may not show up in the box scores, but it's the little things that he brings to the table. For us anchoring that defense, you can hear him talking it loud through the television. What he brings for us being a live threat at the basket, and he's so smart. You got to expect at times Boston is going to trap Luka. They're going to trap Kyrie Irving. That pocket pass is going to be there. Derek Lively becomes the decision maker. And thus far in this postseason, he's been making the right pass or right play every single time.
Kristaps Porzingis expected back for this series. He's going to have about a month of rest to get ready. This is big on both ends of the court for Boston, especially the defense, where that rim protection is a big upgrade over what Al Horford would be able to bring in a series like this. So I'm curious, with Porzingis on the court defensively, who could that limit from the Mavericks offense? Guys like Gafford, guys like Lively could struggle to get those lob passes from Kyrie.
They could, for sure. And having Kristaps Porzingis on the floor, look, he's the most important player in this series. If Kristaps Porzingis plays, I got the Celtics winning in 7. If he don't play, I got the Mavs winning in 6. Just him being on the floor, his defensive presence, being 7'3", being long, somewhat athletic, is going to cause a lot of havoc in the paint for the Dallas Mavericks and that lob threat that we're talking about. He could break up some of those passes. Remember, the Dallas Mavericks leading the postseason by damn near double, right, when it comes down to the lob passes at the basket or catching lobs. So Kristaps Porzingis is going to be huge on both ends of the floor.
Well, Perk, it sounds like in that answer you gave your thoughts on what will happen in this series. If Porzingis is available, you like the Celtics in 7. If he is not, you like the Mavs in 6. So either way, you're expecting a long NBA Finals series that goes 6 or 7 games?
Yeah, and I don't know if you could tell by those predictions. Usually when you pick a team in 7, that means it's a pick 'em. Well, I'm looking at this to be special, okay? Both of these teams, they don't have a Batman and Robin. They have a Batman and Superman. When we're talking about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum for the Celtics and Luka and Kyrie for the Mavs, this is going to be one for the ages. It's going to come down to who's the best out of Luka and Jason Tatum. That's going to determine the series.
Okay, so in that vein, Kendrick Perkins making a prediction on Finals MVP. Tatum's your odds-on favorite, -120, followed by Doncic at 2-1. How do you see it here? You going further down the board, or you going with one of the top guys?
I'm going with Jason Tatum, man. I'm going with Jason Tatum. He has to get it done. This is his moment. He's been to the finals before. This is what he's been waiting on. I'm looking at this series I'm looking at this matchup like 2008. Damn it, Paul Pierce versus Kobe Bryant. Paul Pierce defended his home turf, got the Finals MVP. Jason Tatum has to do the same. There's nowhere in hell he can let Luka walk into his crib unannounced and walk in and just do whatever the hell he wants. He got to come out victorious, and I believe he will. He knows the pressure. The lights are on him. The pressure is on him. Jason Tatum, Finals MVP.
You heard it here first. Big business on the NBA Finals. We get ready for Game 1 Thursday. Perk will be in the house. We appreciate you dropping by ESPN Bet Live, big fella.
I appreciate y'all having me, fellas.
Wanna try to post at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.